you can capture 4K video, power your laptop, connect wireless devices, and even run a 4K 144Hz HDR display, all from one setup. Most capture cards just capture video, that's it. But this Wavlink is more like a mini workstation hub disguised as a capture card. So today I want to see if this is actually useful for creators, gamers, streamers, and remote workers, or if it's just a bunch of specs on paper. Now, first I'd like to say thank you to Wavlink for sending this out to me for review. No money was exchanged on my thoughts on my own. So when they hit me up and I saw what it was, it looked like there would be less cables, less random adapters, and less clutter everywhere. So when I saw the capture card, I immediately thought, okay, this might actually solve some of the problems I'm having. Because this capture card isn't just giving you HDMI capture, you're also getting 4K 30 capture, 4K 30 loop out, support for a single 4K 144Hz HDR display, 100-watt power delivery, USB ports for accessories, and the ability to turn your laptop into more of a full workstation setup. So let's break down what this thing actually does and who it's really for. Now, looking around the device, you get the HDMI input, HDMI output for loop out, DisplayPort, USB connections, USB-C, PD, and video port, and power delivery support. Now, this feels more like a creator dock than a traditional capture card. And honestly, that's what makes it interesting to me. Because if you're somebody streaming with a laptop, editing on the go, or even gaming and running a multi-device setup, this can clean up your entire workspace. Instead of having a dock, a charger, a capture card, and extra adapters everywhere, this combines a lot of that into one easy setup. And I know for me personally, I'm always trying to keep my setup simple and cable-free as possible, especially when filming videos or streaming. So immediately I understood what this could possibly do for me. And I'm actually using it right now, so I can't really show you what I'm using it, but I'm using it right now to capture all of this, to do everything that I'm doing. I've been using it now for over a month, and it's been great, I'll tell you that much. Now let's talk about the 4K HDMI capture. Now this supports 4K at 30 Hz video capture and 4K at 30 Hz HDMI loop out, which means if you're connecting a PS5, an Xbox, Nintendo Switch, DSLR, mirrorless camera, whatever, you can monitor everything in real time with very low latency. And another important thing, it supports uncompressed RGB and YCBCR video formats. And that matters because your image quality stays looking clean and accurate instead of it being overly compressed or soft, especially if you're a creator using a real camera for live streams or content creation. Now the big feature is the 4K 144Hz HDR. Now this caught my attention a little bit. I don't do a lot of HDR stuff, but this is pretty dope. So if you're a gamer, you already know off rip this is gonna be dope. But even for creators, this does matter also, because at a higher refresh rate, workflows just feel smoother. You know what I mean? Editing feels better, gaming feels better, general workflow just is better, period. Better, I guess, is the word. And this capture card can output a single 4K 144Hz HDR display through the DisplayPort or the USB-C, PD, and video port using DP 1.4. That's actually dope for something this compact, especially for laptop users trying to create a more desktop-style workstation setup. Now let's talk about power delivery. Another thing I really like, this has 100-watt power delivery support, meaning you could power your setup and charge the laptop all at the same time. Now, technically, it supports 100-watt input, but delivers up to 90-watt charging to the laptop. And honestly, for most creator laptops, that's more than enough. But you gotta make sure that your computer supports charging over USB-C and video output over USB-C. That's real important, because if it don't, you're gonna have a problem. It ain't the Wavlink fault, it's yours. Also, they recommend using a 20-volt, 5-amp, 100-watt charger for proper performance. Now, there's always limitations. There's always the good and there's always the bad. So let's talk about some limitations. First, the USB-C host and HDMI input cannot work simultaneously, okay? So if both are connected, HDMI capture takes priority over everything. Also, if you're extending or mirroring your computer display through the DisplayPort connection, the PD and video USB-C port basically becomes power input only. And for you Mac users, The Mac OS can only extend one different screen, and it prioritizes HDMI capture. So definitely understand your workflow before buying something like this. So who is this for? I think this makes the most sense for streamers, gamers, remote workers, laptop creators, podcast setups, and people just trying to simplify their desk setups, especially creators who travel a lot. I think this would be dope for them too, because instead of carrying a capture card, a docking station, charger, and extra adapters, this combines a lot of that into one device. And that's the part I really like about this. Not just the specs, it's the convenience, and we all want that in our life. So my final thoughts, at the end of the day, I think this is one of those products that makes more sense once you actually build it into your workflow. This is closer to a creator workstation hub with capture functionality built in. That's a smart direction, especially now that so many creators are working from home. Would you actually use something like this for your setup? Would it be helpful for you to have the ability to be able to have a few things kind of combined in one instead of it being separated? Personally, what I really love about this is the fact that it just combines everything into one, at least more than one thing at least. It's not just a capture card, and it's a pretty good capture card, but you also have everything else. You know, you have power delivery, you have the USB-C delivery, you have the display port, a little bit of a hub, two USB 2.0. I mean, it has everything you pretty much need to get you going, you know, depending on your workflow. And you could always have another hub, you know, but as far as on your desktop, this kind of helps relieve a lot of things real quick. So again, thank you, Wavlink, for sending this out to me. If you're interested in this product, I have the links in the description below. Appreciate it if you use them. No extra cost to yourself. Just helps out the channel a little bit, you know. Other than that, that's it, y'all. Subscribe, hit the bell on the side so you get notified on time. And like I always say, it is what it is. I'm out, y'all.